I'd like to share with you on this week's Parshas במדבר something very nice from the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Levi Yitzchok Zatzal. When the Rebbe was in Paris in 1937, so on Beis Nisan, it seems like the Rebbe sent a letter to Rabbi Levi Yitzchok in Yekaterinoslav. The letter that the Rebbe wrote, we have in the Rishimas, the discussion over there, and it seems like that everything that's written in the Rishimas was sent to the Rebbe's father. A very long letter. The Rebbe's father responds on the 7th of Iyar, right after Pesach. And in the print that we have now, that letter is 18 pages. And most of the letter, almost all of it, the Rebbe, Rabbi Levi Yitzchok, is answering our Rebbe, his son, of course, everything that he wrote in his letter. And he writes what's called ha'aros, responds to those concepts. Beautiful, beautiful letter. One of the things in that letter is that the Rebbe explains him that we find both by the Chanukas HaMishkan, who was the first Nasi who brought a gift to the Mishkan was Yehuda. What was the name of his Nasi? Was Nachshon ben Aminodov. In our Parsha also by Midbar, we find when the Torah describes how they camped around the Mishkan, the 12 Shvatim, the first one who he mentions is on the side of the east, the Mizrach, was Yehuda, Nachshon ben Aminodov and his tribe. Explains the Rebbe, everything in Torah has a meaning. What's the meaning of the word Yehuda, the name of Yehuda? And also, why was his Nasi called Nachshon ben Aminodov? Everything has to be exact. Not only that, if you look a little deeper, Nachshon is the son, Ben, the son of Aminodov. So if you go in the order of the generations, Aminodov came before Nachshon. And everything has a lesson in Avodas Hashem. And the Rebbe explains over there in short that in the times of the Mishkan, the Nasi was the one who elevated and gave spiritual nourishment to his Shevet. And now too, even though we don't have the physical Mishkan, we have through our Moshe Rabbeinu that in the service of the Nachshon ben Aminodov, we learn how to serve Hashem. And now we'll understand why he was the first. And not only that, but he was also, as explains the Medrash, he was the Melech, the king of all the Shvatim. From Yehuda came out Dovid HaMelech and also Mashiach. Speedily nowadays. Explains the Rebbe's father. Explains the Rebbe, and the Rebbe's father responds. Yehuda comes from where? It says in Parshas Vayetze that Leah said as soon as Yehuda was born, Hapam oides Hashem, I'm going to praise Hashem. So the word Yehuda, as we start also in davening, Hoidu Hashem Kitoy, we want to give praise to Hashem, refers to davening, tefillah. That's the way a Jew connects to Hashem, bonds with Hashem. That's the meaning of Yehuda. To know what in the davening itself is hints another two details, important details, which is in the name of Nachshon ben Aminodov, and that's why he was the Nasi. So the Rebbe explains over there in the letter, Nachshon is the root of the word of Nachash, the snake. Also, Nachshon was known, he was the first one who jumped into the sea. So the Rebbe ties these two things together, that when you daven, and especially Shemona Esrei, which is really called the tefillah, the davening, that's the time when a person gives himself completely over to Hashem. Total devotion, Mesiras Nefesh. The Mishnah says, even if you have Mishnah the Gemara, even if you have a snake crawling on your foot, if it's not poisonous, person should not move. Shows his total devotion to Hashem. So you have Nachshon. Over here, the Rebbe's father gives a little response to that point of the Rebbe, and he adds another interesting thing about Nachshon, teaches you about the davening. The Gemara says that when you daven and you bow down to Hashem by Baruch Atah Hashem, when you get up, first you should lift your head, and then you should lift up your body. And the Gemara says, just like a snake, when you see a snake, first the snake picks up its head, and then when it wants to crawl somewhere, it afterwards picks up his body. So same things by Shemana Esrei. And that's why you put yourself up by the Eibishter's name. You stand up and you elevate, you pick up yourself just like a Nachash. So davening Shemana Esrei is hinted in the word Nachshon. Now here you'll see so beautiful. Continues the Rebbe, and look what the Rebbe's father says about this. Who is the father? The father in generation-wise, as we said before, comes before. Ami Nadav is 2 words. Ami, my nation. Nadav, who gives charity. Who they gift. The word Nadav comes from the word Nadvan. Someone who gifts. And someone who gives away from himself for others. The Inyan from tzedakah, from charity. And now says the Rebbe so beautiful. Now you'll understand why. Ami Nadav comes before Nachshon. Because before you daven, you're supposed to give tzedakah. So the father who comes in the generations before shows on tzedakah, which is before the Nachshon, which is the davening. And it's interesting that the Rebbe's father, Rebbe Yitzchok, on that point, where Ami Nadav goes a hint on tzedakah, which comes before the davening of Nachshon, Ami Nadav, the Rebbe's father writes, Rebbe Yitzchok, on this detail, Toiv v'yofahu, it's good and beautiful. This is one of the only times we have in the letters of the Rebbe's father to our Rebbe responding to the beautiful commentary and explanations of our Rebbe, where he writes to him these words, Toiv v'yofahu, it's good and it's beautiful.